This is Eastern Bartonshire Radio, and you're listening to the Crossface Podcast. Hello and welcome to the third edition of the Crossface Podcast. Today I've got another new co-host. Today it's Jamie Robertson. How are you today?
I'm fine, not bad. How's yourself?
Not too bad. Enjoying the wrestling week.
Unfortunately, with the sad news.
Oh, no, I had to open up with sad news. Dusty Rhodes. I was absolutely shocked when I heard that.
It was on actually the podcast or the chat that we've got about it is when I found out about it, and I was like, got it, because I can remember like when I was like with WrestleMania 5 with like Hogan, Warrior and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I used to get like videotapes off the taxi driver that dropped us off. So like I'm been a wrestling fan since I was like 5. So hearing about this, I'm gutted, because you used to see him against like the Honky Tonk Man, and he was like really good. I enjoyed him.
He had that feud with Randy Savage, didn't he? With the Sapphire and what's her name again? Sherry, Sensational Sherry.
Sensational Sherry. I completely forgot about that one, because I've started going back because I've got the network. I watched SummerSlam '89, I think it was. The fights, the Honky Tonk Man.
The very first one.
Very first one, yeah.
I went back and watched that recently as well, just because we're coming up to SummerSlam. I'm sort of starting to re-watch them, and that's the first. The first one's actually really cool. You know, you got like the Mega Powers against the Mega Bucks and things like that.
It's because it's really good with the network, because with like Money in the Bank coming up and like you've got like SummerSlam, you can like go back and watch like old.
I love watching all the old stuff. The old stuff's really cool,
yeah.
Especially with Dusty Rhodes. Like when I found out, I went straight to the Beyond the Ring stuff, like the documentaries, and I went and watched his documentary that night, and it was really good. And apparently they're airing a special on him after Raw on Monday night, so I'm looking forward to that. Yeah,
I'll need to catch up with that. I never knew about that one, but it should be really good.
It was still a shock. Like, I'm still kind of shocked about it, just hearing about it. You just don't expect it. And there was the whole thing about Christopher Lee dying that day as well. It was just
that's because that's how it started, with Christopher Lee dying. Then was it Paul put on the podcast chat that we've got that Dusty Rhodes died. Yeah. And I was like, he was only like 6'9", but I think he was like a big enforcer of like the NXT stuff.
Oh yeah, he loved NXT.
Yeah.
Because I've heard, I can't remember who it was, if it was Alex Riley or something, said he was just absolutely thrilled with like the very first NXT special, Arrival, and he just thought that NXT was just absolutely fantastic. So, and it sounded like he always helped out like the sort of younger talent, which is always good, like their talking skills.
Yeah, because I think as well with Dusty Rhodes, I think he was showing Triple H how to do the booking and stuff. Like, so if he ever did like step down, like he was going to like it had a good platform for Triple H to continue how good NXT is at the moment.
Aye, he's definitely one of the best bookers. I'll expect they'll probably have some sort of special for him in Raw as well. Probably have Cody without his Stardust makeup and things like that.
I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, because Cody is crazy with the Stardust gimmick just now.
Is he? I don't know, I've kind of went off it a wee bit. He just seems to be jobbing quite a lot.
I've noticed that as well, that some of the matches he's having is like with like mid-card, like Fandango and stuff like that.
I think he's winning over like Fandango, but that's hardly like a big victory, is it? I think the last good thing he did was the US title thing with John Cena, because they're usually quite good, because they always lets the sort of mid-carder guys look pretty good in the match.
Yeah.
Like Sami Zayn and obviously Kevin Owens recently.
Yeah, I'm enjoying the whole Kevin Owens thing just now.
Oh, I know, it's amazing. That's the main thing I'm looking forward to with Money in the Bank. I just want to see how the rematch is going to go. Yeah,
it's quite good how Kevin Owens has got like, he's the only guy that I know in the roster just now that's got like 5 feuds. He's got like everybody. He's got like Cena, he's got Sami Zayn and Samoa Joe.
Samoa Joe. That's a match for next week.
Yeah, I saw that on I watched NXT last night, and that's what was the last one. And I saw that they are going to fight next week, which should be really enjoyable.
I thought they sort of would have built up to it for like a special, but maybe it's because Kevin Owens is on the main roster. Maybe they're just trying to get it over and done with before he goes.
Plus they've got the whole Japan thing coming up.
Oh yeah, the show. That actually looks like a really cool show. I'm looking forward to it.
I saw the promo as well that Finn Balor.
Oh yeah, the vignette. That was really cool.
Just in his suit, and he's like, bring the demon out, and you just kind of flashes back, and then you just see him in his
that was
makeup.
Really cool. I wonder why it said like Finn Balor arrives, because does that mean he's coming to like the main roster?
I don't know if it's like because he was massive in Japan with was it New Japan? He was part of like the Bullet Club and stuff like that. But I think it was maybe like because he's returning to Japan, maybe they're building that up.
Yeah. There's also the big Brock Lesnar match that's going to be there as well. Brock Lesnar against Kofi Kingston.
I saw that. I don't know how that's going to work. I don't know if it's going to be basically I'm just squashing Kofi Kingston, just throwing him about. I'd
like to see if it was like they make it like a no DQ match to have the rest of New Day running and Brock Lesnar just destroying the rest of them.
Yeah, I'm really quite enjoying the New Day just now, just because everybody hates them.
Yeah, I'm really they're just so just cocky. Yeah. It's nice to see Kofi Kingston like a hero as well, because I never thought I could see him as a heel, but he sort of pulls it off.
Because as I said, I was watching things back and I saw it on YouTube. It was Kofi Kingston and he was doing his Jamaican accent, and I forgot that he had that gimmick.
Yeah, I remember seeing that. I think it was like Bragging Rights 2009. He has a promo with like DX backstage, and it's just like, what were they thinking? Although they tried to make him like a big star immediately with the whole Randy Orton feud and feuding with like DX and things like that. So
because he was always, I liked it with like the Royal Rumbles and that, like old Royal Rumbles, not like this year's, because it was.
Oh yeah, that was one of the worst.
Couldn't find a good spot in that. But with Kofi Kingston, just you were wondering what he was going to do. It was kind of like, because Shelton Benjamin used to do all that, then you're like wondering like, what's Kofi going to do?
Yeah,
like handstands, jumping on chairs.
I think it was the 2011 Rumble that sort of started that, because I mind it was John Morrison in that year. He sort of jumped in the barricade as if he was like Spider-Man.
Because he's parkour and all that. That's what they used to say he had.
And then he left and Kofi sort of took over his spot, and now that he's a heel, I'm starting to think maybe Neville will be the sort of new guy who do big spots during the Rumble. Because
I think with Neville, I think they're putting him in this Money in the Bank that's coming up on Sunday. I think he's going to be like the big high spots.
Oh yeah. Well, he and Kofi are in it, so maybe they'll have like a big double spot or something.
Yeah, just wondering, will New Day get involved?
I can quite imagine they would. I know at least Xavier will get involved. But the thing with New Day, have they started doing the Freebird rule? Because I noticed they're doing the tag match in Money in the Bank, and Xavier's got one of the belts. So does that mean?
Yeah, I've noticed that apparently they're saying that WWE is enforced bringing back the Freebird rule.
That's weird. Well, that'd be good if they still had like the Shield, you know, if they could have swapped like tag team championships around when they were still around, but probably a bit late for that, unless they somehow get back together.
Can always hope.
A lot of people, I think I saw like a sort of predictions thing. It was somebody saying at Battleground they should do like Lesnar versus Rollins, and once Rollins looks like he's nearly beat, like the Shield music goes off and Reigns and Ambrose come down, they all just triple team Lesnar, which would be kind of cool.
A triple powerbomb to Brock Lesnar, that'd be something to see.
Yeah, that'd be, you know, just like they hate Seth Rollins but they hate Lesnar more, they want to get rid of him more. It could work that way, but it just depends what they're going to do, because Brock Lesnar's coming back on the Monday night, so it'll be cool to see what he does.
I saw that he's coming back.
I don't know what he's going to do. Obviously he's going to go after like Rollins, but it'll be cool to see what they set up.
I thought that they might have like brought him back, like see after like Money in the Bank, where Seth Rollins comes out the next day in Raw and goes, I've beat everybody. There's nobody else on the roster that I could beat, and then Brock Lesnar's music just drops. Yeah. And like he comes out with Paul Heyman. Yeah.
I'm looking forward to seeing what'll happen, because Raw's been pretty boring like the last few months.
Yeah, I've not caught up with last Monday's there, but I've with like the chat, I've heard that it wasn't really that good. No,
it wasn't. I've sort of stopped watching Raw like ages ago, and I sort of started watching the YouTube highlights, because it sort of just shows you what happened within like 20 minutes. But I thought I was off on Tuesday, so I had a chance to watch it the morning after when taping it, and it started off really well. It was John Cena and Kevin Owens, and they let Owens and Neville have a match, and they had a great match. And then after that, the show just went way down. You know, it was just like Fandango and just other mid-card stuff. The Divas, like Nikki Bella against, I can't remember, Summer Rae, and it was like a 2-minute match, you know.
Yeah, that's the thing with the Divas, because we've been talking about that as well. It's like on the main roster, they mostly backstage they get like the chat, or they have to do like a promo or stuff like that, and then they get like a 2-minute match. Yeah. But with like NXT, they can hold like a 15-20 minute match easy. Yeah.
Because you say like give Divas a chance, obviously. Like they're not giving them much a chance in the main roster. They're getting like the limit for their matches is like 6 or 7 minutes at the most.
At the most.
Although to be fair, looking at like Nikki and that in the ring, like even their triple threat match, there was a lot of like sort of sloppy moves, and they seemed to mess up quite a bit.
Yeah, I've noticed that with was it at Elimination Chamber? It was like, it wasn't like as free flowing as normal matches, but I saw that they did miss like a couple of big spots and stuff.
Even Paige, because she was amazing in NXT, but now she's in the main roster, she's not really done that much.
I think it's been more since they put her like Total Divas and stuff like that. They've like brought her back, but she was brilliant when she came like up to the main roster, and then as you say, they're just not using her as much.
To be fair, there's not like a lot of divas actually on the main roster, because like there's only like Alicia Fox, Nikki and Brie, and Naomi and Tamina, and I can't really name anymore after that.
There's Summer Rae, and then
she doesn't even do that much.
No,
Eva Marie's coming back.
I heard that.
Did you see it on NXT?
I've not, because was that last week's or the following?
It wasn't this week's, but it was the week before that.
See, I unfortunately only started watching the start of that, and I forgot. And when I went to watch last night's, I forgot that I had that one in, because the bit I watched up to was with Kevin Owens telling him that he was going to basically just stretch her off another body.
Yeah. She was in a pretty bad segment on NXT. Like, they had her out for like an interview, and the crowd just absolutely just wrecked her. Like, they were just totally booing and saying you can't wrestle, and she sort of stopped to let them do it, which she probably shouldn't have, and it was just deafening, just like how loud they were booing her and saying you can't wrestle, you know.
That's it. It's quite.
But apparently she's been having like training with Brian Kendrick, so you never know, she could actually end up being pretty good in the end.
That's it, because with Brian Kendrick, like he's been in ICW quite a few times and that as well, with Paul London. He's actually a really, really good wrestler, so if she's getting training off him,
yeah, she start doing like the sliced bread as a finisher, that'd be pretty cool.
Should be good.
But you were telling me about ICW earlier, you're saying they're having a show in Kilmarnock soon?
No, that's BCW.
BCW.
They're doing the Fringe. They do it every year, like Colt Cabana and stuff like that come.
Okay.
But looking at it, on Facebook, it's Mark Dallas is saying that keep watching this space, because he says there's going to be a lot of things like coming up for this show, because there's not one in June, or I don't know if there's one in July. I'm not too sure. I've not checked yet. But I know they're definitely doing the Fringe on August. And as I said, it's the return of Colt Cabana and with Grado.
Yeah, that'd probably fill quite a lot of seats. I'd like to see that match, actually.
Yeah, plus as well, they're saying if you buy like the tickets, you can get in to watch the Art of Wrestling. Colt Cabana's doing his podcasts.
Right.
So you can do that and get like in early, so you get like a better seat. Or when I say seat, you can stand closer to the ring. Because as I said, it's all standing, but it's a crazy night. There's always something happens, and you're guaranteed somebody's getting chucked into a crowd.
Scottish wrestling's pretty cool. But it seems to be just a lot different from all the other wrestling companies that are around there, you know.
Yeah, because you've got like your PPW and the other one, the one that was on last night. I just says the name there. And
BCW.
BCW, aye, because they were just they done East Coast Bride last night with Bram, Jack Jester and stuff like that, and they announced that they're going to Kilmarnock with Hacksaw Jim Duggan's going to be there.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's going to wrestle, but
yeah, maybe come in,
hit somebody with a 2x4.
I didn't realise that the sort of wrestlers like Jack Jester and ICW sort of moved around the different companies.
Yeah, it's I think because they're all like independent. It's like they all like have their different characters. It's like kind of weird when you see like Wolfgang, for instance. He's like, everybody loves him, like see the kid friendly shows, but now he's turned heel in ICW. He's just this monster, and he's just, because the last event, Spaceballs, when I was watching it, he basically just power drives somebody through a table onto the floor, like they had it set up on the railing, and he just basically power bombs Dickie Divers head first onto the floor through a table.
That doesn't sound like a very safe spot, does it?
No, but as I said, it's good how like they are like different, but Jack Jester, he's more of like, he's like the hardcore icon of ICW, but with like the children's shows, he does like, you kind of see him chasing like the kids about like with the corkscrew. That's no so family friendly, but he kind of like winds up all the kids and that at the shows. But he's like, I like how they're completely different at different shows.
I've been to the SWA shows. I know they're sort of more of the kid friendly ones as well.
Yeah, because there was one, and I went to the one recently in Motherwell, where like Tommy End, Mikey Whiplash, and Drew Galloway and stuff like that. But Demo, and it's his company, isn't it?
I think so.
Him, and it was Joe Coffey. But as I said, it's like really family friendly, and like somebody was shouting at Demo to shave his back, and he turned round to the kid and was like, "What's wrong with my back here?" Just basically like interacting, just having kids shouting at him.
I've seen a few things. There was a show in Coming On where they did that as well. There's a few kids just shouting at the bad guys, you know. There's some bad guys where they're like, I can't remember the guy's name. He had a match with Lionheart at Baramania. This part of like a faction. Jackie Polo. I've seen him during a couple of these shows. It's like he's sort of a more adult character in like ICW, and then SWA is just more like a sort of a cartoon sort of villain. Yeah,
with the ICW thing, with the SWA, he came in as Polo Promotion, so he had like Mark Coffey and DCT and that, so he was like kind of like bringing like the ICW character to the SWA shows and stuff like that, which I've like quite enjoying.
I quite like that Polo Promotions sort of gimmick, and the fans seem to like it as well. It's sort of a smarky crowd, mind you.
Quite, cause that's as well, because with the foam hands and all that, you see a lot more of.
Oh yeah, I've saw a few of them.
who bad, we bad.
Yeah, kind of a weird one. We'll move back to. We were talking about TNA a bit earlier. I think it was just sort of recently announced. Like, it seems like a dumb business decision that instead of the Slammiversary being Kurt Angle against Ethan Carter III, it's now going to be an Impact for free.
Yeah,
it's a bit weird,
I saw that, and I was thinking that I thought they would have put like, that's a big rival just now, so I thought they would have put that on like one of their big shows, because I heard that they've moved from a Sunday to a Wednesday now to like try and compete with like NXT, Ring of Honor and stuff like that, which I think is a pretty dumb move, because there's Ring of Honor and Lucha Underground and the NXT is so big at the moment. I thought it's not a wise move.
It's the Wednesday Night Wars now, isn't it? Not exactly like the Monday Night Wars, but
no, nothing like that.
Although I suppose you can sort of pick your favourites. Like if I had to watch them in order, TNA would probably be like the very last one I'd watch.
I'd probably be, as I say, I've started watching a bit more of like Ring of Honor and Lucha Underground, but I'd have like the NXT would be probably my first choice.
Yeah, that's always my first choice. Yeah,
it's brilliant just now. I don't think there's been a bad match.
Oh no,
in the last couple of weeks.
Not even a bad show.
No, that's it.
Like even though this week, so there wasn't like any like great matches, but it's just the way the show just sort of progressed and made matches for the future and feuds and things like that. It just worked really well.
Yeah, because I saw when I watched it on Wednesday there was it Becky Lynch versus Blue Pants. I never knew who she was until Mario told me that she's like was in the Independence and she's like really good, and like it should be somebody you should watch. So it's like she got like more and more into the match before Becky Lynch. No, sorry, it was not Becky Lynch.
Oh, it was Emma. Emma,
my bad. Emma. She got like into the match a lot until like Emma just put in the submission hold and finished it. But as I said, Mario did say watch her because she gets better, so I'm holding Mario responsible if this doesn't happen.
She's really cool. Like when she came out on NXT, I think she actually got like the biggest reaction of the night, because like everyone in the crowd just sort of like jumped up and started cheering. Wasn't expecting it. I think she got a bigger reaction than Samoa Joe.
That's it, and that's a pretty hard thing
to drop. I did like Samoa Joe's debut. It was pretty cool.
I've noticed that. I'd never saw the boy who was wrestling. Is he just like a newer guy that they've just signed?
Angelo Dawkins. I know his name. I think he might have been like part of a tag team, but I think he's just sort of one of the guys that are just sort of developing, and he's been used as a jobber at the moment, like a few of the other guys.
Because he did like have, as I said, Samoa Joe on the ropes a couple of times, which I noticed, and then it would get like a big build up, and then Joe would just squash him again and just like throw out one of his like big moves or something like that. The
Muscle Buster. That's pretty cool seeing that.
I was going to say, the Muscle Buster was good seeing that coming back.
And Joe's still looking pretty good. He must be getting one of the older guys now. I think he's like nearly 40. Same as like John Cena and Randy Orton and that.
I saw that he's getting pretty old, but I say he can still handle himself.
Yeah, he's still got the skills, obviously.
That's it.
But I loved the promo after the match as well with Kevin Owens. There was a line in it I loved. He said, you can't just come in and challenge for the NXT title after one match, even though obviously he only had one match before he won the NXT title. It's just, I just love Kevin Owens. Like, everything about him is just amazing. He's like the best thing about WWE right now.
Because I quite liked his going back to the Elimination Chamber. His match with John Cena was just brilliant. How some of the moves he pulled out, and it was like one of the ones, it looked like he was picking him up for like a gut wrench, like DDT, and then remembered that he can't do that move because it's banned, and he just kind of like picked him up and powerbombed him.
I've seen a few memes about that, like people saying, "Oh my God, is he about to hit it?" I'm like, "Oh wait, no, he's not doing it." But it probably would have been too dangerous doing that, especially to someone like John Cena. He probably would have got killed if he'd injured him.
Injured the face of the company.
But at least they remembered it and managed to use his strength to just sort of throw him out a bit. Yeah,
because I quite liked how like he got the clean win. It wasn't like a dirty roll up, hold of the jeans or something like that. Actually, he finished with the pop-up powerbomb and finished them cleanly. Yeah, which I enjoyed. Which, bringing it back, it's going to be brilliant at Money in the Bank.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how it goes this bit, because I can't really predict how it's going to end. I don't think anyone can.
See, I don't know if they're going to like have Cena win just so it builds it up to SummerSlam, or if they're going to have like Kevin Owens like beat him again, and then have it to SummerSlam, and then have John Cena like doing something like dirty, like he doesn't do, like a sneaky pin, holding the ropes or something like that to beat Owens at SummerSlam. I said that to Eddie last week. I would like that, so that if he sort of says, "Oh, I managed to beat Owens," Owens can come out and say, "Yeah, but you had to cheat to beat me," you know. And just sort of hold that over him, as if like, I managed to beat you without having to cheat, and you had to cheat to beat me. So that'd be pretty cool. That's it. Plus, with I quite like the Seth Rollins Dean Ambrose bit now.
Oh yeah.
Because I started watching a bit of SmackDown, and he goes like, "Here, take the belt back," and he's like, "Wait, I need to tell you something. That's a replica." It's like I've basically lost it between New Orleans and here. And it's like, I think that's going to be a pretty good match with the ladder.
Yeah, that should be fun. I just hope there's not a lot of interference with the Authority, but it's kind of bound to happen, isn't it?
That's it. Plus, I don't know how it's going to go, because they're kind of like distancing themselves away from like Rollins and
because they had a match with J&J Security at Raw, where they sort of beat them both up, and Kane tried to help them. So you never know, but they might try and make it like some sort of silly plot twist, like they were in the whole thing all along, you know, to try and get Ambrose into it, you know. That's what Randy Orton did when he came back for WrestleMania. Like, he beat them up, then he said, "Oh no, I'm back." The Authority said, "Oh no, I actually tricked you. I'm just in the Authority to get after Rollins." It just didn't make sense. But what I'd like to see happen, I don't think it will happen, but if Owens was to sort of beat Cena clean again, if like Brock Lesnar comes out like the next day saying he's the Conqueror, then Kevin Owens just comes out and says, "Well, I beat Cena twice in a row. How about you fight me?" I would just love to see something like
that. I'd pay to watch that. That'd be a pretty good match. Owens Lesnar. I think it'd just be pretty brutal.
Even if they're just like the first 5 minutes, they just stand looking at each other, getting like "This is awesome" chants, it'd be pretty cool. It was like what the Wyatt family and the Shield used to do. Like they just stared at each other across the ring, and the fans were going nuts.
Do you think you could actually get Owens up for like 16, 17 German suplexes?
Well, Adrian Neville actually managed to pick him up, so if Neville can do it, I'm sure Lesnar can do it. And Neville actually managed to do it. He sort of picked him up for the ground and just German suplexed him. I was like, how has he got that much strength? Because he looks like a small guy.
He's just crazy, some of the stuff that Neville does.
I love Neville. He's amazing.
I think it was it one of his first matches on Raw? I think it was against Fandango, I'm pretty sure. Or it was Bo Dallas or something.
I think it was maybe Curtis Axel, maybe him.
And he runs, or he's on like the railings and runs and does at the ramp, and he does like a 450 splash off.
Oh yeah, I remember that. I was Dolph Ziggler. He was fighting.
Dolph Ziggler?
That was really cool.
It's like, how can he like perform like a 450 splash from such a small distance and still manage to land it perfect?
It was incredible. He's had some amazing matches, and I hope he does pretty well in the future. They've handled him pretty well. Aside from a few losses to like Barrett and whoever, but he's been no bad. Like one of his first matches was against Seth Rollins while he was champion, and Rollins had to cheat to beat him, so that made him look pretty good.
That's plus, what you said, all the stuff coming up from NXT, like Finn Balor. Hopefully, when eventually he does come up to the main roster, they don't like ruin him, because he's been really good. I like how like it's every like main event, like the takeovers,
Mhm.
that he brings out the face paint.
Yeah.
Because I remember coming back to ICW, I've saw him as Fergal Devitt,
Mhm.
and the first time I saw him, it was Square Go, where he
Mhm.
fought Jack Jester for the title,
Mhm.
and it was just crazy. And like he comes back and beat Mark Coffey
Mhm.
for the 0G, and he's been brilliant the 3 or 4 times that I've saw him,
Mhm.
and seeing that he signed for the WWE, there's like hopefully they keep him as good as he was when I saw him.
Yeah.
But so far he's been brilliant.
Yeah, he sort of looked like a star since like the first day he sort of came in.
Yeah.
There's the face paint helps and like the entrance music, like, everything's just sort of goes perfectly with like his character and that.
I quite
really
like
cool.
the entrance when he's like dressed as the demon.
It's just really well done. Plus, it doesn't do it that often as like the sort of demon. So when it does happen, it feels like an event.
I'm looking forward to is the one in Japan
Oh yeah,
I
the match
think-
with Kevin Owens.
with Kevin Owens. I
That should
think
be cool. Yeah.
it's good. Potentially, I think he might win the title because
Mhm.
Owens has been signed up to the main roster.
Mhm.
So I'm thinking, plus it's in Japan, it's in his backyard. So
Yeah, it should be a pretty cool match. Plus, I've had one before and it was fantastic. So
yeah,
if I can follow up with it. And at that Japan show, it's also got Chris Jericho coming back, which should be pretty cool.
I saw that Jericho's coming back. Is
He's fighting Neville.
Neville?
So if they get like 15 or 20 minutes, that should be an excellent match.
Yeah, because as I said, Chris Jericho's a really good worker.
Mhm.
Like
And going against someone like Neville that can just fly about the place, it should be pretty cool.
that's it. Aye, should be good.
You know, imagine he goes for like the red arrow and he hits some like a code breaker or something. That'd be a pretty cool spot. Don't know if he can get up in that amount of time, but
I'm trying to think you could potentially.
I do like what they're doing with like the network though, like because that Japanese show, if they didn't have the network, that wouldn't get on like TV. But just because they've got the network, they can just edit when they want and they can have it
Yeah.
as long as they want. It's not like restrained. So I don't know why they don't do more sort of like house shows than just air them on the network. So it's something to watch. You know?
It's something that would be like they should be doing
Mhm.
because, as I said, no one really sees like the house shows unless like over here you see it in like April, November. You
Mhm.
see like them bringing like John Cena and that comes over,
Yeah.
but more and more house shows are like bringing like the old superstars back.
They usually have
Plus
big
they've
names.
got
Yeah.
the network too.
Mhm.
Potentially go. This was last night's house show in
Yeah.
San Diego or something like that.
They don't even need to like film like every single one of them. Maybe just like one a week, you know,
Yeah.
because they usually do like a few a week. So if they just do, like one show with like a few cool matches, it'd just be cool to have it on the network, you know. Because there has been like a lot of cool house matches shows. I remember there was one before WrestleMania 28. I think it was in Madison Square Garden. They had Triple H against like Dolph Ziggler. Like even just getting a wee match like that would be pretty cool.
Yeah, that's it. Because said bringing back like Triple H.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's like the veteran in that now. Because you only ever see him every so often, or
Mhm.
like at SummerSlam or at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
So seeing him in like a smaller house show would be pretty good.
Mm-hmm. That's a good idea for them to do. And I think they need more sort of new in-ring content because all they've really got is like NXT and main event they've taken away because I think they only air that over here now in Sky Sports.
Yeah, I heard because I think they've still got like a contract with Sky Sports and stuff,
Uh-huh.
so they have to like give them something back.
Yeah. The main event used to be cool when it was on the network because they used to put like intercontinental title matches and that on it, and I've started watching it on Sky Sports and it's just like a sort of, I don't know, it's just there to be there. Like I was watching one this morning and there was there was 4 matches. What was the first one? First one was Adam Rose against Zack Ryder, and it was like a 2-minute match, and then there was a Divas match. I can't remember who, but it was Naomi versus somebody. There was the other one, Stardust against Fandango, and then only the main event looked pretty cool because it was the NXT Open Challenge, but it was just Kevin Owens against Heath Slater, and obviously Kevin Owens destroyed him.
That's
So it's not really as big a show as it was before. They sort of took it away from the network.
yeah. I've not really watched like much of the main event because, as I said, I've just tried to catch up with like the network stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But I heard it used to be really good because they used to film it before,
It was
Raw and stuff,
before
or-
Raw and SmackDown, things like that.
and they used to always have like at least one big main event or stuff
Mhm.
like that.
Yeah.
But it's just fell away again.
They used to do cool stuff. Like there was one where they did like a battle royal at the start for the winner to take on the IC champ in the main event. And it was interesting, you know. I think it was like Dolph Ziggler won it once, then took on Biggie, and you think, oh, can he win? It was actually felt like dramatic, you know. And there was one that even had like the Wyatt family versus the Shield for like 20 minutes, which was obviously amazing.
Yeah, because I quite like as well, as you mentioned about the Wyatt family, that they've brought back Luke, Harper and Eric Rollins back together as a tag, because I quite liked him as a tag, but what are they doing with Bray Wyatt?
Apparently they were thinking about putting him back, but I read a thing recently that apparently they're going to turn Bray babyface soon, which I'm not sure how that's going to go down.
I have no idea how that's going to go down, because I quite like his character as a heel just now. The Eater of Worlds.
Yes, he could be like the Undertaker if they sort of let him be like that, you know, just like a sort of enigma that just sort of pops up now and again to beat up on people, you know.
Yeah.
But because I know he lost recently on Raw to Roman Reigns, and I read that apparently because they're turning him babyface, they think it doesn't matter if he loses while he's a heel, which doesn't really make much sense because we'll still remember him losing matches.
Yeah.
But the babyface thing, I don't know if, because when Undertaker turned babyface, I suppose the first thing you'd be like, that guy being a face, it couldn't work, but obviously it did work because he was just such a unique personality.
That's it, because I don't know how that would work for the babyface, because he came as a heel, that you know him as a heel, so if you turn him babyface,
he could be like a weird sort of vigilante guy, you know, popping up in these things to take out people that he's obviously doing wrong. I don't know who, like Sheamus
beating up Bo Dallas.
Yeah. I don't know why they never did let Bo Dallas join the Wyatt family. That'd have been cool. Apparently they were going to do that as well. I wish they had, just to see what it would have been like.
You could always turn him into like an anti-hero, so he's like kind of in the middle. So like he still is as bad as he normally is, but sometimes he does
like Austin.
Alright things.
That's why I like Undertaker's babyface. Like he never did anything good. He just went out there just to beat up on people, but he didn't really have like a vendetta. That's why people liked him, just because he was just out there to tombstone people when he wanted.
Just because he can.
Yeah. But I don't think Undertaker really worked as a heel either, which is weird because it sounds like he should. Because like I know I was like 4 or 5 when like the Attitude Era was around, so I don't remember much of that, but I still didn't really like his Ministry of Darkness character.
See, I loved the Ministry of Darkness character, because I was like in my teens at that time, and I like grew up through the Attitude Era, and it was like you always watched it to see what they were going to top last week's show, and like how they were going to like bring, like they used to have like a segment with The Rock and Austin come through with a beer truck, soak them all with beer, stunner everybody, then leave. And it was just some of the stuff they got away with through the Attitude Era was just crazy.
Were you one of the people that sort of changed channels between Nitro and Raw?
No, I was I'd never really paid much attention to like WCW. I was more of always a WWF or WWE fan through it all, and then once I got the network I started watching a lot more of the WCW stuff, but I've watched like going through like the Monday Night Wars and stuff like that, how it was like you just would buy like all the old people that would built up the WWF, like Hulk Hogan and Lex Luthor and Luger, and
Kevin Nash
and stuff like that. But I don't know how it's watching the Monday Night Wars is like, it's been really good, because how it was nearly like down in the dumps with the WWE because of like the NWO and how they just brought out this Attitude Era and how it just like took off. It was really, really good, and eventually WCW died and Vince bought it over. Then you got like, once it was like starting to turn into the PG, you had like the invasions where the ECW ones and the WCW ones try to take over, which I really enjoyed. I quite enjoyed like that pay-per-view.
Oh, the invasion one?
The invasion one was really good.
A lot of people seem to sort of crap on it just because it was, I don't know, it was because they couldn't get like all the sort of bigger WCW stars. Like the biggest one they could get was like Booker T, but guys like Goldberg and Nash and Scott Hall didn't come until like a year or 2 years later. I think it was just because they had like WCW contracts that like guaranteed them millions for like a couple of years, you know.
If they came to another show, they were guaranteed so much money.
Yeah, because WCW didn't have like a homegrown talent. Like I think Booker T and Goldberg were like the only ones. Like everyone else was like a sort of old WWE guy.
Because like they did like bring in like the Rey Mysterios and stuff like that, but
like ECW had them first technically.
First. Like Chris Jericho before he moved to like WWE.
Or even like I suppose Mick Foley kind of started in WCW. He was Cactus Jack and then moved to ECW, then to WWF after that.
where Dude Love came.
Yeah. He's kind of a cool character. I suppose it just depends on your opinion, but I like his more hardcore stuff like Mankind.
Yeah.
Because that was one of the... When I was like 4 or 5 in the Attitude Era, like my friend used to have a couple of old VHS tapes, like Fully Loaded 98, and I wasn't into wrestling back then, but then he showed me Mankind and The Undertaker, and
Hell in a Cell.
yeah, and that was the first thing I really saw, and I just thought he died, you know. He's sort of thrown off his cells, like, did that guy just die?
Because apparently his tooth goes like through his
Yeah,
top lip,
yeah,
and
yeah.
apparently that was meant to happen. Or this one where they flip him over and he falls through the top of the cage.
Mhm.
Apparently that wasn't meant to happen. And after the thing, after it, Vince McMahon actually told him that if he ever done that again, he was going to fire him.
Yeah.
He's like, you do that again.
Don't really blame him after that.
Because speaking about Mick Foley, he's going to be the general manager.
Oh
at
yeah,
Fear
for
and
the
Loathing 8,
ICW, yeah.
which is going to be crazy.
I still need to get my tickets for that. I definitely need to go and see that show. It should be pretty cool.
See, it's Fuzzy's turn to buy the tickets. I'm just going to put him in the spot here. It's his turn to buy the tickets, so I'm just hoping that he buys them soon.
Have they announced any matches? I know they've got Mick Foley, but have any like, sort of
They've
matches
not
been
announced any matches, but they have, as I said, they've brought him like as the general manager. Plus, they're doing like I don't know if it's at this or if it's at the Edinburgh shows. They're doing like the Fierce Females.
Oh yeah,
They're doing
Mario
like a
was talking about them,
tournament.
yeah.
And the winner of that goes to Fear and Loathing to fight.
Alright. Who is the women's champion just now?
It is Viper. It used to be Kaylee Ray. She was the longest. She's been like the champ for like two and a bit years. And at the walkabout, the Vipers just won it.
Alright, yeah. Mario was talking about that. He was at that show. Yeah.
I've always wanted to catch like the Fierce Females because I heard they're actually like, really good shows and stuff. But is it like Mikey Whiplash runs it?
Yeah, yeah. I would definitely go to more of them. It's just that I didn't even know it was like advertised until like Mario sort of mentioned it. I was like, okay, that sounds cool, but I'd never really heard anything about
Yeah,
it.
because I've had like is it the I can't remember. She's on TNA just now. The King.
Kenny King?
No,
No, the
Kong.
woman, yeah. I don't know. I don't watch too much TNA, admittedly.
I've completely forgot her name now. And then I'm going to get a text off of Fuzz telling me that I forgot the name.
There's a lot of the ICW guys in TNA. There's a Drew Galloway, Grado, and who's the other one? Bram? Is it Bram?
Bram, I think he is a TNA guy, but I think because they're bringing ICW people in, and because TNA's saying like you can use our talent as well, because Bram is fighting Shug's House Party 2. That's the place in July. It's going to happen. I knew there was an event in July. It's Shug's House Party, and they go back to Maryhill for Waynestock or something like that they're doing.
Is it?
He's fighting Grado.
Alright,
at
that
that.
should be pretty cool.
Which should be pretty good, but unfortunately I'm in Florida that time, so this is the only show I'm going to miss, because they announced that Rhino is fighting Wolfgang as well, which should be crazy.
When is it you go to Florida?
It's July the 20th, I think.
You're
So it's
going
like
to
the 26th. I think I'm just missing it by 2 days or something like
Are you going to try and catch an NXT show while you're in Florida?
that. I'd never even thought about that. I could actually
Full Sail University, just go and find out where it is, see if you can get tickets.
I could actually tell her that I'm taking her to a trip and just go, oh, how did this happen?
Does TNA still record in the Universal Studios in Florida as well? Have they sort of done that?
I don't know, but I'll need to, as I said, I'll need to double check on that. I never even thought about that until you mentioned it there.
I did go to one of the TNA shows actually when I was in Florida back in 2000. It was between 2011 and 2012. It's a TV taping. I thought it would have like big stars like Hulk Hogan and that, but it was like they did sort of 2 episodes in like the one night. Because like in the middle of the show they had like Jeff Hardy against what's his name, James Storm, and then later on in the night there was a tag team tables match, and then when I got home I saw that the episodes were like separated. Yeah,
because that's what they done with when they came over here in like January, because I was at the January ones, and I think it was like basically they done like 2 different shows, and it was like every so often you'd hear them saying, right, we're going live, so they get the roar of the crowd.
They did that as well.
Because the one before that they done like all the backstage stuff, and you could hear it but you couldn't see it, and like everybody's just sitting about doing nothing. But when I started watching it on Challenge, I noticed that they'd cut like different bits from like Glasgow into like Manchester shows, and like it would just flow like differently. It's like that happened in Glasgow, and then you'd see the next match and you're like, I never saw that match. It's like, how's that? But then they'd put like cut into a London show and stuff like that, which was pretty weird.
I remember they tried to like bribe our crowd by getting us to cheer at the start. They're just like, who wants to win some TNA DVDs, and then we cheer, and then that would be the start of the show. Just us cheering to get some free DVDs.
That's it, because I heard that they've cancelled the Glasgow show for next January.
Oh, have they, TNA?
Apparently, I've heard rumours that that's happened.
I was thought it was quite big over here now.
The ticket sales weren't that good because the lot of the back section of the Hydro was like cornered off, and like they'd brought people who were up in the first tiers like down onto the floor, so that when they were filming it, you could look and it looked like it was busy. Yeah,
I remember being at the taping in Florida as well. It's like on the telly they make it look as if there's like a couple of thousand people there. I don't know if they add in like extra noise, but when I was there, I think there was only like 200 or 300 people in the crowd. You know, it was just like barely anyone was there.
Yeah.
It was an alright show though, because they had like Bully Ray, who I really liked at the time. You know, he was doing a lot of cool stuff, and Jeff Hardy I've always wanted to see live, so it was cool seeing him.
Yeah, because I saw like Brodus Clay and all that were over in Glasgow.
Oh, right. What's his name now? Is it Tyrus?
Tyrus, I think. Aye. And we were, because I was like right next to where he was standing, we were all just like shouting, we miss Tensai, and he turned round as loud as anything, goes like, so they are. And just like, we're just like cheering for him. Like, but he was having a thing that was with Mr. Anderson.
Alright.
There was a big thing, but that's, I don't know, as I said, what's happening, because that's like the last time that I started watching it, because I've like fell away because it's not really been as good as.
Yeah, I've always sort of went back to it and then sort of went off it again. Like WWE's the only one I sort of stuck with like the whole way through.
Yeah.
But now NXT, and add Lucha Underground to that as well.
That's it, because with that Lucha Underground, I started watching it and I thought it just starts off like a soap drama.
Yeah,
like,
it's really cool. I like
and then
it.
all of a sudden it just gets into the wrestling, which I thought was pretty cool.
I remember it says like executive producer, I think it says Robert Rodriguez. I don't know if that's the same one that does like all the sort of big Mexican films, like Machete and things like that, and Planet Terror. It would be kind of cool if it was, because I like his films.
That would be pretty cool.
He did like the Predators film and that, so. But it's a cool wee soap opera. Like people actually die in it, you know. There's like I've not watched it for like 2 weeks, but I remember the last one, a guy sort of got eaten by some sort of monster in a cage. It was just weird, you know.
Yeah.
If you saw it in like any other wrestling show, you'd be like, oh, totally fake. But I just saw it there, it was just kind of cool.
That's must be true.
Have you seen what's his? I'm trying to pronounce his name. Probably Miguel Mertes.
I've not. No.
I don't know if he's been in the last 2 shows, but he was on the one a couple of weeks ago. He sort of came back from the dead because he was in a casket match, and they pronounced him dead during that.
Oh, Undertaker type thing.
Yeah.
Oh, he's not really dead.
Yeah.
He's here.
He just came back, sort of got like the sort of white eyelids sort of things, and he's actually like, he's huge. He's like the luchador version of Brock Lesnar. I would actually like to see him against Brock Lesnar, because I think Brock's actually smaller than him. He's that big.
I'll need to, as I said, when I get home, I'll probably catch up with a lot more.
That was a really good show, that one, because I had also what was it, Prince Puma against Hernandez.
That's who, because just before I got here, I started watching it, and it was a triple threat or something like that for the winner 2 fight.
Oh yeah, had like a Alberto Del Patron.
Aye.
Or Johnny Mundo. The old WWE guys.
Yeah.
But Prince Puma's really cool. Like, I heard he almost got signed by WWE, but apparently because they already had Neville, who was a high flyer, that they didn't need another one. But I've just seen Puma, and I'm like, he's like one of the best high flyers I've ever seen. Why would you not take him anyway? You know?
Because I never noticed, is it Alberto Del Rio and stuff like that? But they still in Lucha Underground? Because I know.
Yeah, I know
Morrison.
I know Del Patron's definitely still in there. I should just call him Del Rio, because I prefer calling him Del Rio.
Aye.
But he's definitely doing better than Lucha, because he knows how to do that character, whereas in WWE he just always seemed like he sort of lost a bit, you know.
Aye.
I still thought it was a bit unfair the way he was fired, because apparently the guy hit was being racist towards him, you know. That's been a while ago now.
That's it.
There's also Johnny Mundo, who's John Morrison / Johnny Nitro.
Johnny Mundo.
When was the last time he was in WWE? I think it was 2011, like 4 years ago, wasn't it?
Something like that, because as I said, I was watching it one week, and then the next week it's like he wasn't in it. I was like, what's happened to him? I never knew, and then I found out that he'd been released and stuff. So I always thought, and then as I said, I saw him on Lucha Underground.
Yeah, I was weird because I think he got fired like the night after like a pay-per-view match as well. Like he was like in a US title match.
Yeah, because sometimes I normally watch, see if like a big WWE event's coming up, like the Royal Rumble or WrestleMania. It's a place on Facebook called Heel Book, and they always bring like a YouTube video of coming out. It's like they were bringing out like a WrestleMania one, and it was like everything's coming up. It's like it just kept like doing nothing about WrestleMania.
The Honest trailer.
Honest trailer, and it's like it's like basically they're just saying if they don't mention about WrestleMania, they're going to like execute Dolph Ziggler or something like that in front, and then like just watch the Monday night after WrestleMania, because that's always like the best one, because you've always got the British crowd there.
I did like that Honest trailer. It's just it didn't help that WrestleMania ended up actually being a really good show.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. The only thing I never liked about it was the whole Triple H bit. Like it was like after the match, he shook his Sting's hand and stuff like that, and then like 2 minutes later, it was back being like the heel again.
Yeah.
Against the whole Rock Ronda Rousey thing.
The shaking hands never really made sense to me. Like I like it when wrestlers sort of shake hands for respect, but it's like you beat him by hitting him in the head with a sledgehammer. That's not really a sort of handshake kind of thing.
I like the whole DX.
That was a cool part of the match.
Coming in.
Yeah. The match reminded me a lot of Rock versus Hogan, where like the stuff in the ring wasn't that great, but it was just because of like the atmosphere and the nostalgia that actually made it like a great match.
Yeah.
But there was a part during that match. It was like Kevin Nash when he got hit by, I can't remember, was it X-Pac, and he sort of went to the ground to sort of hold his leg as if it was like his quad. I thought that was like a wee inside joke. You know, everyone's always saying every time he walks he tears a quad. That was WrestleMania was really cool though, because like I think the couple of weeks like before it was obviously like not a lot of build up. Like everyone like all the major matches, like only one person was like on TV. You know, like for Lesnar Reigns was on TV, and Taker wasn't there.
No.
What was the other one? Sting Triple H. Only Triple H was really turning up to sort of promote it.
Yeah, because with the Undertaker match, it's like I was actually a bit sceptical about it, because I never knew how it was going to go because of how bad the WrestleMania 30 one was with Brock Lesnar.
Yeah.
I thought, how good a shape is he going to be in?
Yeah.
But it was actually a really good match.
Yeah, it was a lot better than I was expecting. I think he sort of proved it because I think he suffered a concussion with the Brock Lesnar match. That was probably the reason why he couldn't actually put on a good match.
That's it, because what was it, the first 3 seconds or something like that, he was into an F5.
Yeah.
It's like, that's a quick match.
And I think the Bray Wyatt one actually would have been better, but I think he sprained his ankle that night, so that might have slowed things down a bit.
Yeah.
I remember hearing that, like, I was at the ICW show before that, and there was, like, people posting the news, like, oh, Bray Wyatt's injured. I was like, what are they going to do for WrestleMania if he can't compete, you know? Undertaker match. I suppose they could have found him a new opponent, but I don't know who they would have put in his place.
That's true. Because they did build it up for, like, that match. You couldn't have really just went, oh, by the way, he's injured. Here's somebody else.
Obviously we've got Money in the Bank coming up in a couple of weeks, but the show after that's going to be Battleground, which doesn't have the best track record of sort of pay-per-views, does it? There's only been 2, but the first one was obviously a bit of a disaster.
Yeah, that's I don't know how that's going to work, but I'm looking forward to Money in the Bank, because the Money in the Bank, you've always got something happening.
Yeah, it's always a good show, yeah. Even if it's like seems sort of obvious that Roman Reigns will probably win the briefcase. That's
what we were going, but like what our predictions were and stuff like that, and who was going to win. And I think everybody apart from one person, I think somebody said Sheamus.
I remember one person did say Sheamus. Although it could be a good sort of outsider win if that happens.
Or somebody says potentially get Kane to win it, and then bring him back as the monster, like part time. Like sometimes he'd come down, beat everybody up dressed as the monster, and then next time you see him in another segment just as corporate Kane, just holding the briefcase.
That would be pretty cool.
But I think it's Roman Reigns. I've noticed started getting a lot more cheers, because he was at the Royal Rumble and stuff. He just was booed because they wanted Daniels to win, and I think with the whole Dean Ambrose thing just now, I think they're bringing him back, and the crowd are starting to pick up, like starting to like him a bit again.
Yeah, he's got a bit of a match, so yeah.
It's got to be a good match. There's got to be Kofi Kingston.
Oh yeah, he always does like at least one sort of big move.
Silly. Yeah. But I don't know, is New Day going to get involved?
Yeah, because the Shield have done that before. They got involved in like 2013, so it could happen. It just depends if it could be banned from ringside or something. I don't know.
That's it. But as I said, I think it's set up for potentially Roman Reigns winning it.
Yeah. I don't like Sheamus being the match just because like every time he's sort of been in a ladder match, he always gets himself like really hurt. Like in the 2013 one, he sort of injured his shoulder and he hit his leg off the ladder as well. And
was it not him and one of the Money in the Banks that kind of threw Sin Cara onto old Sin Cara?
Yeah,
onto
2011,
2011, and just wiped him out. That was him.
Yeah, that was.
It's like probably we never saw him again, so that's why Sin Cara 2.0 is now here.
At least he's a little better.
Well,
that was a sort of failed experiment. Although Kalisto seems to be sort of outshining him.
I've noticed that, but when on the NXT stuff, I've noticed that sometimes they would like miss like big spots, but they just continue and stuff like that. But more and more, I've seen them, they've got a lot better. Because I quite enjoyed like the Elimination Chamber, the tag match. I never knew how it was going to work.
Yeah, it was a bit weird, wasn't it? But it ended up being chaotic, which I liked.
Aye.
Although the booking was a bit weird some of the time. Like they made Ascension look really strong, then they just sort of beat him quite quickly.
Yeah, I noticed that as well. I got it for Cesaro and Kid. I thought potentially I had them winning it because I just think that both of them together are a really good tag team. But then Tyson's injured now, so I don't know how they're going to keep Cesaro as good as he is just now, because that's somebody I think should be up, but they're just keeping him as a mid-card guy now.
Kid's injured now, so you never know, he might sort of get a chance now that he's sort of away.
Yeah, like maybe giving him like an opportunity for like the Intercontinental or something like that.
Or even US against Cena at some point, which would be pretty cool. They'd have great matches. But for those listening that don't know, our sort of podcast group, we had like a wee prediction point thing going, didn't we?
Yeah.
I think I actually ended up winning it, because I did like a lot of outsiders that ended up winning. And the only one that nobody got was the Intercontinental Chamber, because I don't think anybody actually had Ryback to win that.
I think I had Sheamus.
I had Sheamus as well,
sure.
yeah.
I was a shoe-in for Sheamus.
And when it was Sheamus and Ryback at the end, I was just like, Sheamus is winning this, and they hit Shell Shock, he's going to kick out. Then when he didn't, I was like, oh my god, they actually let Ryback win.
I quite liked the bit when it was Sheamus's pod open. Well, it would never open because he had like the cross in the wee bit, so he was like that, and then he just kind of pulls it out.
Yeah. I thought it was a botch at first as well. I thought they generally couldn't get like the door open.
I quite like how the character he's came back is, because he's technically from like the Attitude Era, but in the PG era. Yeah. But he's like getting away with it, which I think is really good.
I'm sort of starting to like his look as well. Like the mohawk, he just sort of looked different for everyone else, and the sort of weird dreadlocks and his beard in it as well.
Aye, and how he just said he's going to crush all the babyface.
Yeah, all the smaller guys. He hates smaller guys. But he has the best matches with smaller guys, so that's a good thing.
Aye.
Maybe see him in a match against somebody like Neville in the future.
I would look forward to that, because as I said, Neville's just somebody that defies gravity.
What did you think of that Intercontinental Chamber match? Because I thought it was like one of probably the worst chamber match I've actually seen.
It wasn't the best.
It was definitely boring.
Aye.
It didn't help that like a lot of the guys in there were sort of like big guys that can't really move around.
Yeah, but I don't know with the Mark Henry, like bringing him back as party. I thought they would have brought like somebody like, but Cesaro was already booked, so like have someone.
Bray Wyatt, like he was quite a big sort of popular one to sort of bring into it.
Like they could have brought somebody, but they brought Mark Henry, and like he's no like the biggest. He actually like somebody was pinning. And was about to get a free count, and they like broke up the count. That
happened quite a lot actually during both the chamber matches. Like they kept breaking up counts. Like, why are you doing that? It's elimination. It's just weird stuff, you know.
But then there's like his chamber gets broke, so he comes out. Which, as I say, it was a good match, but it wasn't the best.
It wasn't
elimination chamber that I saw.
It wasn't well put together. But at least the show was sort of saved by the non-chamber match. You know, like Cena Owens and Ambrose Rollins. They were definitely the best matches of the night.
I'd have to say I think mine was Owens Cena. I think that just was the best match.
Yeah.
And then they brought a Divas match on after it, which was, I thought they could have put the Divas match like
Was that not the second match of the night though? The Divas, I think it was Bo Dallas and Neville after the Owens match.
Was it?
Unless I'm
I
getting
can't
it wrong.
remember.
And then it was I think it was the Chamber. Then it was Rollins Ambrose. I've not watched it for a while. I've only watched the Cena Owens match again, so I've really seen the whole show again. Usually I rewatch them if they're like really good, like all the good matches, but usually skip all the sort of bits I didn't like.
That's it. Just fast forward a bit.
But have you got any predictions for Battleground? Because thinking about it, I actually can't really think of any matches that could be going. Maybe Owens versus Cena in like a 2 out of 3 falls or something, but I can't really think of anything that could happen.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a possibility, but I don't know what they're going to do with like the Seth Rollins, Dean Ambrose. I don't know if they're going to finish it here or potentially keep it going for like maybe SummerSlam, or when Lesnar comes back, bring him in to the picture or something like that. But it's, if they announce like any like matches for it yet, or is it still waiting for like after Money in the Bank before they start
just waiting Money in the Bank. Just because like the ladder match seems like a sort of a more of a feud ender, and I can't really think of any other gimmick match they could do after that, unless it's like Hell in a Cell, but that seems too close to like the actual Hell in a Cell pay-per-view.
Plus they've already done that one.
They have actually. I completely forgot about that. they had that. That was a great match last year actually. Really enjoyed that one. What else can they do? I don't know if they could do. I was thinking they could do like a triple threat with the Shield, but I think they'd probably keep that for like a big pay-per-view like SummerSlam or WrestleMania.
Yeah, they could probably, they're right about that one. I think they would like potentially try to think what they could do to like, if, as you said, the ladder match is a potential feud ender, that this is the end of it. But
do you think we'll see a cash in?
See, that's all my prediction. I've said yes.
With who did you have winning the briefcase?
I've had Rollins. So I've had Dean Ambrose was winning it, and as soon as he's like celebrating, Rollins comes, Roman Reigns, sorry, I've got them all mixed up here, comes out like to celebrate with him, hits him with like a spear or something and cashes it in. I
could see that happening. Like, they'll probably maybe try and go for like a shocking moment, try and get more like network subscribers, but that'd be a cool moment, even if it just comes out to like sort of celebrate with them and cheering with them, then just like out of nowhere Superman punch spear. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Then they could do like Reigns versus, I don't know, Rollins at Battleground and set up a triple threat for SummerSlam, but then I don't really know where Brock Lesnar fits in, unless they do the Kevin Owens thing I'm kind of hoping to do. Yeah,
I'm hoping that they bring like him back as like just this person that destroys people again. And I don't know how they're going to like bring him back, because potentially he is going to come back as like a title contender, saying that he's had his rematch. Yeah. So you do know that he's coming back for the title, but it's just the way they're going to try and like fit him in with all the storylines that are going just now, which is, I don't know how they're going to do it.
And for SummerSlam, like the 3 main matches, if I was sort of booking, I would have like Ambrose versus Reigns for the title after like Reigns cashes in. I'd have Lesnar going after Rollins just as like sort of revenge, and then I suppose they could do like a Cena versus Owens, but I don't know what kind of match they could do. If they did like a half an hour Iron Man match or something, I don't know. Last man standing, no holds barred. Because I think they'll try to drag the feud out until like summer, so they'll probably have a few matches between now and then.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking as well. With like, if the cash in does happen and like Ambrose and that do fight, I thought they might bring them to like Battlegrounds and then bring that on to SummerSlam, and then as you said, you'd have Rollins and Lesnar, which would be a good match.
That'd be pretty cool. I thought it's just that Rollins doesn't look like much of a fight for Lesnar unless like they get the whole authority involved and just Lesnar just destroys them like one by one.
Yeah, because that was one of my favourite matches, was the Royal Rumble, see the triple threat match with Rollins and Cena and that. I thought that was brilliant, because I actually thought that Rollins was going to win the match before like Brock Lesnar looked like he was done. Just all of a sudden appeared from nowhere, wiped everybody out and won.
That was a really cool match. I remember Cena hitting the AA on Rollins while Lesnar was there. I was like, oh my god, if they have Cena win here, and then he just kicked out and I almost went nuts, you know. I did the same at WrestleMania when Reigns hit the 2 spears on Lesnar. I was like, oh well, that's it, and then Lesnar just kicked out at the very last second and everyone went nuts. That was definitely a cool match. I love that WrestleMania match because I wasn't expecting it to be good, and then it might be my favourite match of the year at this point.
I quite liked how it started off with just Roman Reigns just getting absolutely annihilated, and then he would, like, you'd see him coming back.
And he's smiling and that.
Just smiling because like, you can throw me about. I'm just going to keep coming back. And then, as you said, we started doing like the 3 Superman punches, and then he done like 2 spears, and you're like, right, he's winning this. Yeah. But then you also knew, like, in the background, that Lesnar had already signed a new contract, so you're like wondering how.
That's what made it exciting.
It was going to like play out. Were they going to? Because if he never signed a new contract, you're like, Reigns is winning this. But because he signed, you weren't too sure about it now. And then the whole triple threat bit right there then just threw me.
That was really cool. But unfortunately, it looks like we're running out of time here. That's us at our time limit. I've quite enjoyed this. The time that always flies by in these shows.
I did not realise that has been.
I know Eddie said the same thing last week, and then there was Mario in the first week when we had the music played, and it was just like, it felt so quick. We need to make these shows longer in the future.
That's it. We had a song ready.
Yeah, I know.
Just so we have a break. But
I guess the talking's the best thing for it.
That's it.
But so thanks a lot for coming in, Jamie.
Thanks for
hopefully
having
have you in the future. I think next week we're having at least 3 of us in the studio this time.
It's going to be a big one. I think we're all going to be wrestling to get in here.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Triple threat match.
The first one to have like more than 2 people, but it should be fun. But thanks for joining. I suppose I'll see you in more shows in the future.
That's it. I'm definitely up for next week because, as I said, it's going to be.
I know we've got Mario coming in as well, and whoever else is wanting to join us.
I know Fuzz, and I don't know about Eddie. He said he might be here, he might not be, depending.
We'll just see what happens then, and we'll hopefully have a lot to talk about because it'll be on Money in the Bank this Sunday, obviously. So thanks for joining us, and so Mario doesn't get angry. That's us tapping out for today. That's our new sign off, unfortunately, but there you go, Mario. I hope you're happy with that.
Anything to keep him happy.
Yeah. So that's all for the Crossface podcast. We'll see you again next time.
Connecting the campsite communities. This